All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new update, and this is going to be my pinned video on my channel for anybody who is new here or really wants to get an idea of who I am and what they can expect from my channel. Now, first of all, I went in and made some changes in my YouTube channel today, and it's going to request that if you are going to be making comments on my channel, that you keep it civil. Okay, we're not going to have name calling, and I want everybody to be civil towards each other. There is no reason to have discourse and to start calling people names. Okay, that is not going to be allowed on my channel. And anybody who does that will get banned. And I've had to ban a bunch of people in the past for becoming belligerent and not accepting that I have an opinion that is different than theirs. And trust me, I am opinionated. I have been reviewing movies ever since junior high and in high school, and I actually did this for my school newspaper, and I'm a movie and TV show fanatic. And so this is a world I've been a part of. And it's something that I am very familiar with for all sorts of reasons. And one of my favorite things, and one of the major topics that I will be talking about on my channel, is DC. DC Comics, DC movies, and TV shows. And the thing is, I want people to know exactly who I am. If you're going to come here and expect that you're going to get a lot of love for the new DCU that Warner Brothers is putting out there, you are in the wrong place. I'm just making that clear right now. I am no fan of Gunn. I'm not a fan of the direction that Warner Brothers is going with all of this, and I'm going to explain why in this video. So that it is very clear, and I'm going to keep this video pinned so that people can watch this as the be-all, end-all. You understand what is going on here. First of all, I had an open mind when James Gunn took over because he was hired as the co-CEO. He wasn't supposed to be the guy writing and directing everything. When it comes to writing and directing with James Gunn, I'm not a fan of his style. Now, I did really like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 3, and I like Slither. Those three films I really enjoy, but there's a certain type of humor that goes along with those that I don't want to see in a DC movie by any stretch of the imagination. The last three DC EU films all tanked because they ended up being comedies, and in fact, the DCU started to tank right after Aquaman when everything became a comedy. Started to get serious again with Black Adam when you saw viewership go way up, and then they announced a reboot and it all went back down again. So they had something started that they didn't want to continue with. Warner Brothers has always had a knee-jerk reaction to everything, and now they decided to reboot everything. They yank Henry Cavill away from us when they announce he's back with Black Adam. They yank him away, bring in James Gunn, and they're going in a completely different direction. And on top of that, you have the new news that came out yesterday of possibly Brolin becoming Hal Jordan as Green Lantern, and they couldn't keep Henry Cavill because he was too old, according to James Gunn. And this creates a problem because you're going to have a mismatched age difference between the Justice League characters. Now, there's a difference between myself and other DC channels that talk about DC, and I'm going to review movies, games, toys, all kinds of stuff, DC related and not DC related. I am a review channel, but most of my content will still revolve around DC. And what's crazy about this is the difference between myself and a lot of other channels is I am a true diehard DC Comics fan. I've been reading comics since I was a little kid. I own tons of comics, like a ridiculous amount of comics. I actually have a short somewhere on here where I show a little bit of my comic collection. And it's a world that I'm a part of. And so I'm not a Marvel fan. I don't talk about Marvel very often. I don't care about Marvel. I care about DC. And the reason I get so upset on my channel is because I've seen Warner Brothers for the better part of my life backstab the creatives behind their back and not let them create their movies. Now all of a sudden they're going to let Gunn create his stuff. Well, his stuff, everything to this point, shows to childish and disgusting humor. And even in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, he had some amazing emotional moments, but then he always tops it off with comedy, either something stupid or something disgusting. And I don't want that for the DC universe. And everything that has been released for Superman so far, all of the first promotional photo that they put out was terrible. It was not received very well. It looked very cheap. And then you had the behind-the-scenes photos that came out, and the suit looks awful. Now, a lot of people will come in and disagree with me and say they'll fix it in post. There is no proof that they're going to fix that suit in post. There is no proof that they're going to do that. And if they do, why would they spend the money to do it in post when you could have created a suit that fit better? Period. It's that simple. And yes, I understand about post-production and what happens behind the scenes because I've worked on movies before. And so I know what happens behind the scenes, and you can hope and pray that that's going to happen, but there's no guarantee that is going to happen. And for me, James Gunn is the one who has to prove himself. I am not just going to accept what the studios, because I care about these characters so much, I'm not just going to accept the garbage that they might shove our way just to please us. Because right now there is just a completely fractured fan base within DC. And it's because of what the studio has done. And they're chasing after an audience, and I've mentioned this before, that doesn't exist. They claim they exist, but they don't show up to the movies. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Superman. I don't think it'll even break $500 million. I don't. And you got to remember that Batman is DC's #1 franchise, and even the Batman didn't even make $800 million. And so you think Superman's going to make anywhere near that? But no matter what, the studio is going to call it a success. Whereas you go back to Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, all of those movies made a ton of money for the studio, and then they totally had this course correction, made everything a comedy, and everything tanked. Until, like I said, Black Adam. So you have to understand that there is this fractured trust between myself and a studio that is in charge of the characters that I love. I am not getting any younger, and I wanted to one day have a true Justice League on screen. Now, we got Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is the closest we're going to get, but we don't even get to finish that story. And so now I have to trust that James Gunn is going to do it, but now he's putting in someone like Green Lantern, who is going to be much, much older than the rest of the Justice League. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, but they're probably going to push him to the side and make John Stewart the main Green Lantern. You can't do that. You have to understand that Hal Jordan has been the face of Green Lantern since the beginning. All I wanted to do was see these characters together on screen fighting in this incredible battle to save mankind. And we had that already coming, but the studio decided to change completely and move in this other direction with a guy who has never done anything epic. You can claim he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, but you have to understand that was in the prime of the studio when he had Disney backing him and Marvel backing him. There is nothing he has ever done in his career that shows that he is up to the task of doing Superman. So I can't just hold out hope. I don't have a lot of hope. Why? Because I love these characters, and as I've seen the studio stab the fans in the back so many times. And I want to believe that it's going to be a good movie, but I haven't seen anything. Everything looks incredibly cheap. And I've covered that on my channel. So if you're going to come here and hope that I'm going to give you, positive spin on things, I'm not. And I am going to be critical of what's coming out of the DCU until the end. Because like I said, I'm not getting any younger, and I want to see these heroes taken seriously. And James Gunn has already made statements that he can't take superheroes seriously and that adults shouldn't take superheroes seriously, which tells me he's going to go for a younger audience with juvenile humor and other things that I don't want. So I'm very fearful. I'm not hopeful. I am fearful. And until he shows me that he's up to the task, I don't have to accept what they're doing. I'm not just going to accept it because it's a change in direction. That's not how it works. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. And you don't have to like it. And we could still have civil discussions. Okay? So just know, coming into my channel, if you're looking for a lot of love for Gunn, you're not going to find it here. And you're not going to find it amongst most of the people that are on this channel. And that's fine. You can have a differing of opinion. That's up to you. It doesn't mean anyone's better than the other, because the word that I see thrown around a lot is the word toxic, that people are toxic, I'm toxic, they're toxic. That word is overused. What it really means is I don't like that person's opinion. It's not about being toxic. It's I don't like that person's opinion. And social media has created this thing where now anything that's not your opinion is instantly called toxic. That's not how it works. Having a differing opinion is not toxic. So I'm not going to make things look bright, cheery, and hopeful when they're not. We'll see what happens here in the future, but I don't hold a lot of hope. All right, guys, so there's my update for the day. I do appreciate everybody who has supported my channel and might be new here. If you haven't taken the time, please like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will be notified as I have new videos go up.